Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Sola Abulu. I am the principal consultant of Sola Abulu and Associates. We are a strategy and communications training and consulting firm. We're based here in Lagos, Nigeria. We work with businesses, brands, institutions, organizations to help them achieve their objectives through strategic communication, organizational effectiveness, and reputation risk management. I we have this. Welcome to our channel. This is the SA and A Learning channel. And we have this channel just as a place where we share our understanding about how communications works, challenges that businesses and organizations have, and how we help to navigate them through them. So a lot of the things that we share on this channel is resources for practitioners, also for business leaders, just to sort of like help to guide the conversation. So if you are a communications person and you're watching this, just know that what you have here is a video that you can use to help amplify an internal conversation. In my experience, I've seen that a lot of professionals have to do a lot of internal advocacy around their role. So sometimes it may just help if you just send somebody this and say, look, there's a video that talks about this and just help it. And then you use that to sort of like amplify your conversation. So that's the way it's going. And this set of videos is really based on, it's like responses to questions that I've had people pose to me over the years or things that come up in my coaching and mentoring. Like I said, we have a training arm, a consulting arm. So we work with clients as well. And then we have this sort of like learning piece. And we're also running some courses, as you can see. You probably see it all over the channel and probably in the description of this video as well. Yeah, so where we talk about a lot of some of the things that we talk about here. And if you'd like to join in any of our sessions, please just register and we'll send the details to you. They're fully online, so you can join from any parts of the world. So 20 minutes, this video is going to be as short as possible. And what we're going to be talking about is the 6 attributes of highly effective senior communications professional. So I had done a video about why I think every communications professional needs to be assertive. The first one was about the basic skills, 7 basic skills that I think every professional should have. Now, this is about the attributes of highly effective senior communications professional. So this is the sort of thing that I think I have seen that has been effective and made people really stand out in the professional field as they go along. So let's get into it. Okay. So first of all, most highly effective senior communication professionals that I know of, and when I say communication professionals, I mean both PR and comms in the entire spectrum of that. I have a video that talks about the difference between public relations and communications. Look for that. If you so you can see in that video, you'll see that there is a massive, very wide spectrum of things that you can call public relations and comms. I'll talk a little bit about that in the next few minutes, but let's see how this goes. So one of the attributes that I have observed about people that I can call highly effective senior communications professionals is that they are active members of at least one professional network. So it's either a local network, a national network, a continental network. So either it's a Nigeria or Canadian or American or Great Britain, or Namibian or Ghana, it has to be a national network, professional network, or an African or a continental one. So you're saying African, or you're saying MENA, or you're saying, or North Africa, or you're saying Asia Pacific, continental, then regional, or it is international, global. So you have to be. I am yet to see somebody that I can call a highly effective senior communication professional. And I use that word very cautiously because even I myself, for many years, even when I was a senior communications professional, I was effective internally, but I can't say that I was as effective outside of that business. And that was really because I wasn't joined to any professional network. It was when I joined a professional network, which by the way is IABC, that was when I think my impact and my influence became bigger to my mind. I think before then, in fact, there's no to my mind. That's what happened because before then, I was only influential or effective within that tight organizational space that I was in. And I think for communications professionals, it's important that you are influential not just in your organization or your team, but beyond that, because you find out that even your credibility within that organization will depend on how influential they know that you are externally. And there's a way they look at you, even if they don't tell you. when they think that your influence starts and ends within the organization, which I guess to a very large extent is probably what they could have said about me when I was doing my paid employment job. But I think while it wasn't as obvious as it wasn't as detrimental as it could have been, was because I was very effective within the organization, and the organization was big. So it was national and it was international. So I was very effective within the national boundaries and also in the international boundaries of the organization. So that sort of like cushioned my career while I was there. But by the time I left that space, it became glaring to me, even just shortly before I left, that there was an external influencing gap. So, and you can only breach that because it's very rare to have the kind of job that enables you to breach that. You can only breach it by going, a professional network will bridge that gap for you. So if you're in Nigeria, whether it's Nigerian Institute of Public Relations or, you are joining the African Public Relations Network Association, whatever, you have to look and make sure it is something that is credible, that is, backed up. And if you want to go international, you can do CIPR, you can do IABC, where I am in. It's a very nice place. And then the second thing, they are continuous learners. Now, in public relations and communication, particularly, in fact, in both, but particularly in communication, things change all the time because communication, strategic communications, which is my expertise area, is very much dependent on how the society is changing, how business is changing, how, the organizational space, the macroeconomic space, the political space. You have to be able to monitor all of that and incorporate that into your practice. So the practice of communications today is not the way it used to be before. Now we are more evidence-based. Now we are able to measure much more. We use more data, we use more research. Of course, artificial intelligence too is now coming in, so you have to be able to evolve with the time. Now we're more into digital communication and online presence. When I started out in the practice, it was very much about relationship building and press and that kind of thing. Now it's really much more than that. So you have to be able to continually learn. I mean, to the glory of God, I just got my certification as a strategic communication management professional with IABC, under the Global Communication Certification Council, and in the US. And I had to study and sit for an exam that required required me to sit for 100 questions over 3 hours. So it was quite intense. And I think what has helped me along the years, even in my current life as a consultant, is because I am a continuous learner. I consume a lot of content every day. I create content myself. I'm forever reading. I'm not very good at reading long form, but I'm very good at reading. I read tweets, as in I can read like dozens of threads of tweets in a day if it's a very interesting one. And I read blog stories. I'm just consuming content. I read newspaper articles online. Oh my goodness. I consume a lot of content. And if you catch my attention on something, I will go down that rabbit hole with you. I'll follow the trail till the end. You know what I did. So, but that has helped me because it makes me relevant, and it just keeps me, it makes me very effective in my job. That's just the thing, because there's hardly any conversation I get into that I haven't heard or learned something recently that has sort of prepared me for that, and I thank God for that. So I am yet to see a senior communications professional that is highly effective and considered to be so, that is not a continuous learner. So the third thing I've also observed, highly skilled, highly effective senior communications professionals, they are highly skilled generalists in several areas of communications. Now, we had said that there's a broad spectrum. I can't count the number of practice areas, but it's like 20 plus. There's just a lot of stuff. Now, what I've observed is that anyone that is highly effective as a senior communications professional, they tend to be highly skilled in several areas. So they're not just dancing around one or two areas, practice areas and comms. And I will show you something about this in a slide shortly that I'll show. And they're highly skilled in several areas. I'll show. I think when I show you the next slide, it will make sense. The fourth one is, and then they have mastery in one specialist area. So there's one area that they have acquired mastery in, and then there are several areas that they are highly skilled in. So just look at it like a 3-tier system. First tier is awareness and knowledge. Second tier is skilled. Third tier is mastery. Mastery is at the top of the level. Mastery is like, man, you are the master of the game. You can do this thing to a very, very high level. You're able to set the agenda for an organization, for a business, even for a nation. You're the kind of person that can deliver a communication strategy for a national agenda. The government wants to go into, has a vision 2020 or a vision, sorry, very past vision 2020, vision 2050. And they're thinking of how are they going to share this vision nationally. You're the kind of person that can then help them develop a communication strategy on how they are going to share this vision to this complex web of stakeholders, civil society, policy, politics, governance, citizens, and you're going to be able to drive up that entire process, set the agenda for the government, and fit it into the overall plan that the government has, just as an example. So for you to be able to do that, you're at mastery level. You're not even skilled. You're a master, because there will be so many layers of complexity in that, but you can still work your way through and help the nation to actually push for that agenda. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in practical terms. And what I'm describing here, what I'm expecting from every communications professional listening to this is that after this, you will go and look through the spectrum of communications practice areas and try to find what your own competence or skill architecture, skills map looks like. So I'm going to show you something that is a mishmash of what my own currently looks like. I didn't put everything in there, but it's just a draft so that you can get my drift on what I'm saying. Just hold on a bit while I get that up. So yes, so this is what so I put this together. So in terms of mastery, like I talked earlier, there is the awareness and the knowledge. I could actually have broken this into 4 tiers, but I decided against doing it. So awareness is the starting level. If you're all you have is awareness of a particular practice area, you don't really know much about it, then that's different. But I just decided to put the two together. So let's assume awareness slash knowledge. But if you are in your early stage career, I think it's good to differentiate between awareness and knowledge so that you know the areas that you really don't know much about. You're just sort of like aware. But I have put the two together because it's really not material in my stage, because I'm very top heavy in terms of the skills and the specialisms that I have. So, like I said, I haven't put everything quite yet, but I think these are the main ones. So, in terms of mastery, anybody that knows me will know that the areas where I can comfortably put myself at global international mastery level is issues and crisis management, reputation management, stakeholder management strategy, leadership communication strategy and planning. I could have put brand strategy there, but the reason why I didn't put it there is because I haven't managed as many brands as the people who are brand gurus are. People who have managed, who I would call mastery and put at mastery level for brand, are people who have helped to support like dozens of brands, over a period of time. I have only worked with a major brand at one time. I've developed, of course, grown my own personal brand and then worked with a couple. So, I spent about 22 years working for one firm, which had a like family of brands, but it's not the same as some of my other colleagues. Like I have a colleague, Agbods from Ziza Digital. She has worked with dozens of brands throughout her career. So I would definitely put her in mastery for brand. So I don't think it's right for me to be in the brand strategy. But even at that skill level, so for instance, when I had even at that skilled level, I know what needs to be done and I can coordinate a brand strategy refresh. And I know some people will probably debate me on that because I've actually recently I actually supported a major rebranding exercise. But again, like I said, I was taking this is just me saying if I want to compare the two, yeah, I just but actually can actually be, I think I'll be like skill slash mastery. But for the other ones, the reason why I put them there is because I've done that in different environments, issues and crises. I've done it in several contexts. I've done it in faith-based set cutting. I've done it for personal people. I've done it for I've done it for political. I've done it for private sector. I've done it. Oh my goodness, oh Lord, I've done it. So yeah, yeah. So you know what I mean. So that's why I made that a bit of a distinction. But I must say that out of the things I have in skill, brand is actually um quite at the top of that. So brand would be like borderline skill slash mastery, while every other thing else I'll put it in skill. And I'm being very how would I say? I'm being very rigid in how I'm assessing this because when I look at social media management, I think I'll call myself skilled. I'm highly skilled actually in that area because I know quite a lot about how to manage the strategy of with social media, campaigns and events, research, data, and insight. Of course, that one I'll put it as skill. I'll put it as mastery because I think there's a whole some people. I mean, for you to be mastery at data and insights and research, then it's really about how you know how to use statistical analysis. I'm still growing and learning in that area, but I'm able to use it. For clients to help them get the data that they need. I know the questions to ask. I know where to look for it, and I know how to put it together and come up a strategy that works for my clients and things like that. But I would not put myself as mastery. But that skill, I am highly skilled. So it is still sufficient for the work that I need to do. You know what I mean? So, and again, if you look at it, so there is hardly any job that I have that requires me to use only the research data and insights. I will still have to use that research data and insights to come up with the strategy for the organization. So you see why I don't need to be at mastery at the level, but I need to be able to know how to leverage on the data and the information that is coming through and use that. So where I cannot afford to be anything less is in these things that I have in the blue box, light blue box, sky blue boxes here, because that's really my bread and butter. Everything that I do for clients falls into either of these three. It's very much in the strategy, communication strategy and planning happens everywhere. Leadership communications, if it's only for the leadership, then the rest issues, crisis, everything around reputation, of which brand is a part of it. But like I said, now on the marketing side, I definitely put that one head because I'm definitely not at mastery. I'm still learning. In fact, the reason why I can put myself here is because I've done a lot of upskilling in that area over the past 4 years when I started my consulting firm, because where I had worked before, we were not a marketing company. Energy sector, we didn't market anything. It was just about produce oil and sell in the international market. So we didn't have like retail market or business, we had nothing. We didn't have a marketing team at all. So there was no opportunity for me to learn how that works. So my communications was basically around corporate communications, business communication, stakeholder communication, employee communication, that kind of thing. Another thing I think I'm missing out here, where I put stakeholder management strategy, what should have been there is internal comms. So I think that one too, I would say, although that can fit into the communication strategy and planning because I didn't differentiate. So I think that would be there. So like I said, this is just a mishmash. It's not tight. I actually just really did this like 5 minutes before doing this recording, just to give you a sense. And the one that I would say I am least, in fact, I didn't even attempt to call myself skilled in is development communications. That one I have awareness and I have knowledge. I know, how it to be done, but practical, because everything else that I put in skill are things that I have done over and over in different settings with results. So development communications, I haven't done it, that way. I did it, we tried to do it in my former place of work, but I don't think we did it. I don't think we cracked it well enough. So I have the knowledge, I have the theoretical knowledge. Um, I think I right now would rather not say I would like to do a project before I can say I can move myself up to skill level, even though now I have a stronger sense of how it should be done. I don't think I've ever really had sort of challenge that I could say I could fit into this. Most of the comms that I've done has been more like CSR communication, which is a bit different from development communication. But I realized that what we needed then was more of development communication, but somehow we just didn't have the structure or the knowledge to know how to put it in place. Now I know what needs to be done, but I haven't yet had the opportunity to practice it, which is why I would not call myself skilled in that area. And yeah, I would not likely, and why you wouldn't see me ever talk about development communications in anything that I put out online. Yeah, and it's a very specialist area. So, and I think again, as professionals, we should always give profession. I mean, we should be clear about where our expertise area is or otherwise. So the things that you see on my site, like I have a page on my website which talks about all our specialisms. They fall within the scope of all the things that you've seen there. And it's very broad. Some people even tell me that, oh, it's so broad, you're doing so much. But I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot more that I'm really not doing. So anyway, so that's that. So I hope that helps you a little bit. So the fifth thing that I think highly effective senior communication professionals, the attribute that they have is that they are influential in their role with measurable results. You can't be a wallflower and be an effective senior communication professional. You have to be influential. Not only that you need to be influential, the organizations you support, your leaders, whoever the business leaders, organizational, institutional leaders are, your clients, whatever, they must know that you are influential. It is in your interest. They would only respect you when they realize that you have influence in the areas that matter to them, that you're able to get the job done, and that you have name recognition. When your name is mentioned in certain places, they have heard about you, they know about you, that kind of thing. Just being influential, whether it's within the organization, within a sector, within a business, within an space, there must be a level of influence. For instance, if you're somebody that you're a PR manager or whatever, the expectation is that people, if they go to certain sections of the media, they will know you, and that you can pick up the call an editor, pick up the phone, call an editor, a publisher, and they listen to you. They retract a story, or they put in, the piece that you want to. I mean, you understand, as in they make it balanced. They carry your messaging, or they call you before they go to press. So there has to be things. That influence is not you just making out and say, "Oh, if you know who I am." No, it's about the things that you do, the influence that radiates, the results that you get, that give a pointer to how influential you are within the space that matters, that is relevant to the role that you are playing, the contribution that you're making, the value that you bring to the business, to the organization, the institution, or whatever. And then finally, to be considered, in my view, as a highly effective senior communication professional, you must have a very wide and robust network, internally and externally. What I've noticed is that why it's so important, and again, I noticed this more, I became more aware of this after I started being self-employed. Um, Clients, people come to you when they know that once they connect with you, you are able to reach out. So it doesn't matter whether or not you have everything, all of the skills that they're looking for. The fact that they know that once they've gotten you, you are able to pull on the skills, or the favors or whatever that is required to get that job, to create space and support for that initiative, that business, or whatever, then you'll be considered very effective. So it is a critical part of our work to build that network, and it takes time. I know a lot of people that know this very well. I have some colleagues who are working in the energy sector, and they understand this, and their network is so tight. They build it, they hold it, they nurture it, they grow it. And that network has to be, when I say internal, within the business or the organization or the sector that you support, and also outside. And I would like to counsel against, being too premeditated or calculated about building this network. Because if people know that you're a transactional person, or you're somebody that only takes, you never give back, you don't invest in your network, then over time, the network will break up. I mean, it just wouldn't be as effective as, it won't be robust. That's the word. So when you need it, it won't deliver for you, because you have very weak links in that network, and the network, so yeah. And again, this is all about being very ethical. I'm not talking about doing anything that is unethical or immoral, but it's really just about using relationships, cordiality, respect, integrity, and transparency to create to build credible, resilient networks with people who can be potential partners, allies, influencers, and people that can just help us navigate the complexity of managing stakeholders, and and putting out our messaging, and helping to influence ethically on behalf of the organization and the businesses that we support. So there you are. 6 attributes of highly effective senior communication professionals. I hope you found that useful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please like and subscribe to our channel, and catch you on the next video. Thank you very much.